Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna was an emotional journey for every longtime fan of the franchise, but also one that left a sour aftertaste. 20 years after their first adventure, the chosen children and their Digimon were ready to bid us farewell, or so it seemed at the time. Even before Last Evolution Kizuna was released, the title and teasers clearly promoted the idea that this was something final. Final evolution, final adventure, the chosen children become adults and lose their Digimon. Even reviews for the movie refer to it as the last installment of the story. If after watching Kizuna you felt like being told to grow up, let new kids enjoy Digimon and move on, you are not alone. While the movie was very emotional, it made us feel like the franchise we love so dearly was telling us it's time to refresh the audience. The fact that the movie was followed by a reboot of Adventure, obviously aimed to attract new fans, only added to this notion. But what if we were wrong? What if the intention of the writers was the opposite? For those of you who need to brush off their memories about the movie, here's a brief plot summary. Last Evolution Kizuna is set 5 years after the events of Digimon Tri in 2010. The chosen children are now either in high school or college. Taichi and Yamato are struggling with plans for their future. When people around the world start falling into coma, the chosen children meet Menoa Bellucci, who claims to be a Digimon researcher, and Kyotaro Imura, her bodyguard. Menoa believes a Digimon called Eosmon is stealing the consciousness of chosen children. When they go to the digital world to fight this Digimon, Taichi and Yamato's Omegamon loses his form. They find a ring of lights on their Digivices that seem to be a countdown. Menoa tells them that the Digivices are powered by the infinite potential of children, and as they grow up with their potential fulfilled, they will lose their Digimon. While the kids from 02 investigate on Menoa's background in New York, Genai visits Taichi and confirms Menoa's words. Soon all the children except Sora, who had already lost Piyomon, are unconscious. Menoa is revealed to be Eosmon's human partner, and her bodyguard Imura is actually an undercover FBI agent investigating her. Menoa admits that she lost her Digimon partner Morphomon because she grew up and wants to prevent the other chosen children from experiencing the same loss. So she has captured their consciousness in a Neverland in the digital world, where they can stay children forever with their Digimon partners. Taichi and Yamato are resolved to stop Menoa, despite knowing that this will only speed up their separation from Agumon and Gabumon. They form one final evolution, turning Agumon into Bond of Courage and Gabumon into Bond of Friendship, defeating Eosmon. Taichi and Yamato's Digivices turn to stone as Agumon and Gabumon disappear. The movie closes with a time jump of several months, showing how Taichi and Yamato have moved on with their lives, but believing they will see their Digimon partners again. The movie left us with a lot of questions, the first being about the 02 epilogue. Why is everyone who lost their Digimon in 2010 still with them in 2028 in the 02 epilogue? Why would the franchise make a movie for the 20th anniversary targeted as nostalgia for fans who have stuck around for decades just to tell them to go away? And then, in the end of the movie, Taichi and Yamato are certain they will meet Agumon and Gabumon again. The Digimon didn't go back to the digital world, they seemingly died. So how will they see them again? It doesn't make sense. What if there is a deeper meaning to the events of Kizuna that we didn't pick up on? What if chosen children didn't lose their Digimon because they grew up, but because they let go of the child within in doing so? Let me explain. In the beginning of the movie, when children defeat Parrotmon and send him back to the digital world, Takeru offers to take the group for breakfast. Taichi and Yamato don't have time to hang out, they have to go to college, but they don't take Agumon and Gabumon with them. Takeru and Hikari take them for breakfast. We also learn that Agumon has never seen the inside of Taichi's room. Why did Taichi never take his Digimon, who was supposed to be a part of him and his best friend, into his new room? Later we see Taichi and Yamato having dinner and discussing the idea of taking their Digimon to college as silly. Going to college is such a big event in the coming of age of every young adult, but they don't want to include their Digimon in that. The only time they interact with their Digimon is when they have to battle, and being chosen children has obviously become a burden for them over the years. In a short story that accompanied Kizuna called To Sora, we see her feeling overwhelmed with expectations to be a good daughter, a chosen kid, and build her career at the same time. We see she often takes out her anger on Piyomon, who definitely doesn't do anything to deserve it and even apologizes when she should be the one getting an apology. Sora at this time is trying hard to be like her mother, and we know she ends up being a fashion designer, not a flower arranger, so she's going against her heart on her way to adulthood. Taichi, Yamato and Sora have one thing in common with Menoa. They all neglected their Digimon rushing to adulthood and are the first to lose them. They are not taken from them suddenly in a cruel twist of fate because they grew up, refusing to let them go. They slowly neglected them over time to the point that they became a nuisance to them. If you switch your mindset to this and watch Kizuna again, you will find many proofs that back up this theory. Throughout the movie, Menoa keeps saying how her Morphomon was suddenly taken from her, but in the flashback scene, we see she went to university much earlier than she was supposed to. She tried so hard to become a responsible and successful adult to make Morphomon proud of her that she didn't even have time to talk to her. Morphomon waited until she felt she is no longer needed. After losing Morphomon, Menoa thought it happened because of her decision to grow up. She assumed it will happen to everyone, and this was used as the premise for the movie, mentioned in teasers and trailers, giving us a conclusion before we even watch the movie. Without giving any spoilers, something similar will happen again in another Digimon story. It wasn't the decision to grow up that separated Menoa from Morphomon. It was the denouncement of the child within and everything that child felt and wanted for the sake of meeting requirements that society imposes on us about what it means to be an adult. You can study hard, work hard, do your chores and obligations, but still remember to have fun and still find happiness in things that used to make you happy when you were younger. You don't have to give up the music you loved as a teen just because that's not something a 30-something-year-old would listen to. You can still play video games, escape into fantasy worlds without feeling guilty you are doing something wrong or putting the adult you in danger of becoming irresponsible. It's your life, you make up the rules. That's actually something said in the beginning of the movie, but most of us who watched it dubbed or subbed got the wrong message because the English translation was a bit unfortunate. You can find fan-made translations online that do a much better job. The opening message we saw said, "The more the people accept the future chosen for them, the less they will age." The original message in Japanese said, "We have not grown up so much that we can simply accept the future that was decided for us." A big problem with how we understood the movie has to do with the translation that often deviated so much from the original that it completely changed the original intent. Genai's conversation with Taichi also sounds like he confirms what Menoa believes, but in the original Japanese script, Genai only said that this is a case when the bond breaks, not a rule. The only two chosen children from the original 8 who keep their Digimon by the end of the movie are Takeru and Hikari. If you pay attention to scenes with them, they are always together. Patamon and Tailmon are there by their side whatever they do, even study or work. Takeru and Hikari are growing up too, but they are taking their Digimon with them. Digimon Adventure lore tells us that the chosen children are not randomly paired with their Digimon. Their traits and crests are all a part of their personalities. Their Digimon are therefore a part of them, not a high school friend you lose contact with when you go to college. If they lose their Digimon, it's not because they grew up and moved on, but because in doing so, they lost a part of themselves. By the end of the movie, Taichi and Yamato promise they will reunite with Agumon and Gabumon. It wasn't revealed how they plan to do that. Why didn't Menoa get Morphomon back after desperately wanting to undo her mistakes? Maybe because in the process she lost her childhood innocence and did evil things. All children are obsessed with growing up. We think adulthood will set us free from school, our parents telling us what to do, give us our dream jobs, and the money and time to do with our lives what we please. But when we grow up, we realize that's not always the reality. We look back at our childhood as a magical place and wish we could go back, just like Taichi and Yamato want to see Agumon and Gabumon again. This is one way of seeing the story of Kizuna, but as every piece of art, it is open for interpretation. The writers and the director never explicitly explained their intention with the story, even though they gave many interviews about the movie. It is up to us to choose what we see. The producers decided to make the movie after the success of Try, realizing that Adventure is the most popular series of the franchise, so they wanted to show the chosen children as older to appeal more to the audience who has also grown up since. This motivation doesn't go along with the message of Kizuna as we understood it. In one interview, when asked about the idea for the movie, the director Tomohisa Taguchi said he didn't want to make another movie where the chosen children battle an evil villain and save the world. He wanted to show that chosen children can't be just that. They are human beings who have dreams and plans for the future. He wanted to explore how they would grow into adults while facing their past selves. The producers who worked on the original Digimon Adventure have said that Digimon series in its current form had to be dismantled so that it could be reborn from scratch into something new by future creative ideas, but the director of the original Adventure and Zero 2, Hiroyuki Kakudo, quit Kizuna because he thought it was incompatible with what the previous series had established. The future Digimon projects will tell us what this all meant. How did you understand the story of Kizuna, and does this theory make you question your interpretation? Tell me in the comments below. If you want to support me, you can do so on Patreon or buy me coffee. The links are in the description below. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more Digimon videos. P.S. Make sure to follow my community page on YouTube, as I also post updates about upcoming videos there.